Hey guys, it's Moody here, and I'm bringing you an overused match. I know this isn't like normal for me, but I had an overused match during the July 23rd KOTC tournament in New Jersey, and actually guys, there's going to be another one coming up on October 8th. King Daddy D-Mac has all the information on his channel if you guys want to go. So here, this is like the semifinals. It's me against Sucker4Jessica, and I lead off with my Politoed because I figure, I want to get my rain up, and even if he leads with Tyranitar, I feel like I have the advantage in that case. But he leads off with Latios, and I was predicting the either Draco Meteor or maybe he carries Thunderbolt. So I switched out into my Ferrothorn, and here I knew he was going to either Stealth Rock or Fire Blast, but I knew I could live at one Fire Blast at least. So I wanted to get my rocks up. So this turn I was predicting him to go for the Stealth Rock, so I just started setting up my spikes because at this point, I just want to get up my entry hazards, and I know he can't spin them away because he doesn't have a rapid spinner. So I go back to my Politoed predicting the Fire Blast because he already has his Stealth Rock up, and he goes for the Ice Beam because he predicted me to switch, although it's, I guess, didn't really do a lot of damage. And he goes back into Latios as he predicts me to go for Scald, I'd imagine. But this turn I went for Toxic because I know Scald wouldn't have done a lot to that Tyranitar even in the rain, so I didn't want to just like just put all my faith in getting a burn, so I just went for the Toxic to wear it down. But I predicted the Latios to go for a Draco Meteor, so I go into my Scizor and he goes for the Hidden Power Fire, but in the rain that does not do a lot, and right here I get the kill with Scizor. My Scizor does not carry Pursuit. He stayed in, predicting me to just like Pursuit because Scizor usually end up getting Latios' Pursuit bait. So here I decided to stay in because I figure, he predicted me to go for to switch this turn because he thought I might have been banded, but I'm actually the Swords Dance variant. And he goes for the Earthquake this turn. I just keep on roosting. It doesn't matter if he goes for the Earthquake and I roost because I'm slower than him, so the flying type thing that goes away when you roost does not take effect here. So he's still in with Gliscor, and he has this move called Snatch. And unfortunately it is illegal because Gliscor can't actually learn Snatch, but right now I felt safe going into Latios. However, he predicts that and goes for the Ice Fang this turn, and he protects to scout and see what I'm going to do. I do go for the Surf, but I figure he's going to want to switch, so this turn I go for a Draco Meteor. Unfortunately, he still has Ferrothorn, so that Draco Meteor is not going to do a lot to that Ferrothorn at all. And I do carry Hidden Power Fighting on this Latios because I run a rain team, so Hidden Power Fire would be not a very good idea. But at that amount of health, it would not be enough to KO. So at this point, I decided to go back into my Ferrothorn, predicting him to either go for T-Wave to slow me down, hit me with a Power Whip, or some sort of setup move. Either way, I knew I was going to die to the burn, so it was really just fodder. And here I go into my Scizor. I just wanted to really set up on this thing because all I really know it can do to me is Leech Seed, and I have Roost, so I didn't really think that it would have too much of an effect in the long run because even though he'd be gaining back hit points, I could easily set up enough Swords Dances to sweep his team. But I decided to switch out back into Latios because I want to save my Scizor for later. And I knew he was going to want to switch too. I realized he still had Gliscor. So at that point, I guess it was okay for me to make that play, predicting him to switch into Gliscor. And right now my Latios has the upper hand, and I know he's not going to want to attack me, or because he knows I have Surf. So I went for the Recover, predicting him to either protect or switch, so I got a free Recover down. And this turn, since I didn't get the Spadef drop from Draco Meteor, I felt like it was okay for me to go for the Hidden Power Fighting. And as he goes for the Leech Seed, it's not going to be enough for me to hit KO from that range. God, Ferrothorn is such a monster, but I feel like that was actually like min-max damage, I think. I was surprised that actually got a KO, and he goes back into Scizor, and here, like, I thought he was gonna pursuit me, so I stayed in and just went for the Surf, which actually turned out to go for in my favor, because look at that damage, guys, that did a lot of damage. So Latios actually lived that Bullet Punch, and I figured he was not banded because I lived that, otherwise I wouldn't have lived that. So I just go for the Scald, knowing that Bullet Punch won't do a lot, especially since I'm defensive, and I take that Scizor out. As he goes back into Rotom, I kind of predicting him to go for Will-O-Wisp here, not really Volt Switch, because I thought that he really wanted to get a burn on probably my Scizor. So I stayed in, and I figured, yes, I could live at least one Volt Switch. And here is, I'm just like so happy, live with 14 hit points, even though I'm burned. Politoed gets his goddamn rest off, and I'm like, yes, Politoed gets to live a few turns longer, and I'm also able to set up my rain longer. I love this set. I love Resto Chesto. It makes me so happy when I just get to rest off my damage and my Politoed is still good and healthy, and I'm able to just like get my rain up again and again. So he predicted me to go for the Toxic again as opposed to the Scald. It was a really risky move on his part, so that was a very good play. I went for the Scald this turn. I don't think Earthquake would have done a lot to me either way, because I'm defensive, and Politoads can have a lot of defense, especially Bold. So he predicted me to go for the Scald again, I guess, and I predicted him to switch. So he goes into his Rotom, and I'm here with my Scizor, and unfortunately he has Will-O-Wisp, so that's not in my favor right now, especially since I'm physical. That's not in my favor at all. So I predicted him to go for the Will-O-Wisp here. I do get up my Drizzle, and I guess the miss mattered because it would have done a bit more damage to me, but here I thought he was going to go for the Volt Switch again. So I was right, and I went into my Gliscor. It was kind of risky because he could have gone for a Hydro Pump in the rain, and it might have done like a decent amount of damage to me, enough for me to at least die from Stealth Rock the next time I would have switched in. So I had to sack my Scizor here because I'm really not left with a lot of choices. So I get to send in my Thundurus right now, and I just go for a Thunder straight off the bat. I don't think I'd live a Volt Switch from Rotom, and I can't really set up, but I actually do live a Volt Switch, and I might have been better off just setting up that nasty plot because I might have been able to get the kill. But this Tyranitar gives me so much trouble. He predicts me to switch, and I was not expecting him to carry the Pursuit, so that is definitely going to be enough to take my Thundurus out. I should have just subbed, but you know, you make mistakes and you learn from them. It was, oh my god, it was such a great game. It was really intense. So I bring out my Politoed again to negate his Sand. So he goes back into his Rotom, and I go for a Scald here, and it does not do enough to kill it. However, I do get the burn, and that burn is actually gonna matter because it's gonna be enough to let me take him out with another Scald. Although actually if he went for Pain Split, I think he was predicting me to switch, so that's why he went for Pain Split. So he's left with Gliscor, and I'm left with Politoed. His Earthquake is gonna definitely take me out, you know. So what I am left with right now is my own Gliscor, and here is his Gliscor and his Tyranitar against mine. I just keep going for the Ice Fang. However, if I can kill this Gliscor, then it's gonna be my game. I can kill off Tyranitar with an Earthquake. So he goes for Ice Fang, and I go for Ice Fang. So right now I'm in the better position because I originally started off with more hit points, and I think we're running basically the same set, so I protect here just to get back more health, although, you know, we're getting back health both at the same time, so, you know, it's kind of like, oh, he goes for that snatch, and I knew I needed to get up a swords dance in order to knock him out from that amount of hit points, and he went for that snatch and he predicted me. However, you know, like I said, that move isn't legal on Gliscor, but the predictions in this game were amazing. The match was a lot of fun, and you know, guys, there's going to be another KOTC tournament in October, on October 8th. It's going to be in New Jersey again, but this time it's going to be closer to New York. So check out King Daddy D-Mac's video on it, and it's going to have a lot more information. And you know, usually we do round robin, and then the top 3 people get money out of the whole pot. So this was me. I made it to the semifinals, you know, and yeah, that's good enough. I got to battle Sucker4Jessica, and I think it was definitely a great game made with ton of great predictions. So as always, guys, I love you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's not Little Cup, but I still thought the game play in this match was fantastic. So I love you guys, and bye. I hope you have a great night. I'm here narrating, and I've got 12 hours of school tomorrow, but still, for some reason, I'm in a good mood. So I love you guys, as always, and bye.